Ani Ledodi of the Rebbe, Chelik Dalet of Maamar Melukot, page Shin Samach Zayin Oy Zayin. Okay, the last thing we were learning yesterday is, because the Rebbe asked a question, all this L'chayra Marapon Sheichakais, the king showing all these revelations, L'chayra, it's not coming from us, it's coming from Hashem. So the Rebbe explains that the pneumius of a Jew is really there, but it's hidden, it's far. All the king does is stimulates that, but it's not coming from him, it's coming from us, because the essence of the Jew, and he says this awakening is even higher than the level of tshuva, because the essence of the Jew is even higher than the concept of tshuva. Okay, this is where we're up to.
And we got that from Pesach.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so now he says in Zion, V'yishleimad, Kaidei Shagilad Yudgimel Midas through this, that the Gil of Yudgimel Midas Rachmi, Me'er Megam L'Ratzim Pnimi Yisrael, awakens, like he said before, that through the revelation of Elul, which is the concept of Yudgimel Midas Rachmi, that awakens the essence of the Jew. Sharatzin the Yisrael Belukus, that the real will of a Jew is, like when the Rambam says, is really Elukus. Because Jews are rooted in the essence of Hashem. Through that, the Yud Gimel Midas Rachmi become greater. In other words, the revelation of Yud Gimel Midas Rachmi, which stimulates the essence of the Jew, that makes the Yud Gimel Midas Rachmi greater. He says, why? This that it says in Rashi, okay? Bereishis, Beis Reishis, right? Bishvil Torah, that's called Reishis, and Bishvil Yisrael, Shenikra Reishis. So Torah, the world was created for the Yid. Hakavana B'zahi, what does it mean? What is the intent of that? It doesn't mean B'riya Sa'olam. It doesn't mean creation of worlds, but Kol HaGiluyim, Gam L'Giluyim Achinayim. Any revelation of God, any revelation of godliness is because of the Yidden. When it says the world was created because of Jews, whatever it says, it doesn't mean world. It means any revelation from the highest level of Elokus is because of a Yid. Meaning, Shaydei, Hayud Yurid, or Yud Gimel Midas Rachmi. Through this, that the Yud, the 13 attributes of mercy, come down. Mimekayim, from their place, which is called Heichel Malchus, the palace, the chamber of the king. L'mayla Mishtaush is higher than worlds, and it comes down the soda into the field, in order to awaken the essence of the Jew. Mizgala B'hem becomes revealed within the Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim, that the purpose of Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim is Bishvil Yisrael, because of the Yidden, that the source is in the essence. In simple English it is. Melech Basoda, okay, what does it mean, the king in the field? The king represents royalty, Malchus, the palace. Heicha Malchusi, okay? That represents the Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim, which is higher than world. Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim is from the level of Kesser. Why can Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim erase sins? Because sins are in the level of world. Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim is a level of godliness higher than world. So in the mashal of Melech Basoda, the Melech Basoda means the Melech represents Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim. Now the king is leaving his palace, meaning his place of Kedusha, and coming down into the world. For what purpose? To help the Jew awaken his essence. So therefore, what happens? Therefore, the Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim is now realizing its whole existence is because of a Jew who's rooted in the essence of Hashem. So that makes the revelation of the Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim connected to the essence of Hashem, which normally it's not. Just like in the Neshama, by coming down into the world, it's easier marshal. The Neshama is in a Gan Eden. Yeah? The Neshama comes down into the world, suffers for 120 years. The Neshama in a body suffers, any way you want to look at it. Even the greatest tzaddik, the fact that neshama is now confined into a body where has to eat and sleep, and it's torture for a neshama. It's actually hell for a neshama to be in a body. Nevertheless, why does the neshama come down? So you can't say it comes down to go back to where it was before. You don't invest $100 to make $100. Like the Gemara says, that's not called a business. The Gemara says, I'm paraphrasing. You invest 100, you make 100, that's called a businessman. Obviously not. You don't have a yurida, you don't invest money, which is basically a descent. You're losing money. You don't lose money to go back to the same place you started. That's a fool. Don't invest the money and that's it. What's the purpose of investing? What's the purpose of the neshama coming down into the world? What's the purpose of Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim, of the Melech in the Heichal coming into the Sada? So obviously it's to become greater than it was before. So the neshama comes from Gan Eden, and it comes down into the world, it does Torah mitzvahs. So then when the neshama goes back up, it goes to a place greater than it was before. Derech Agav, that even though the neshama sins, but the neshama does good also. So therefore, for the bad it does, it gets cleansed. It's called Gehenna, or whatever. It gets cleansed. But the good stays, and that good that the neshama did, like it says in Ayem Yem, Baal Shem Tov said, it's worth for neshama to come into this world 70 or 80 years just to do one favor to another Jew. That means just doing one favor is already pays for the whole suffering of the neshama, because the elevation that the neshama is going to get afterwards is a massive dividend, and a massive profit. So when the Yud Hashem reveals the Melech Basada, when the Yud Hashem reveals the 13 attributes of mercy, what actually happens is the 13 attributes of mercy, which are lowering itself for the sake of the Jew, but then why was the Yud Gimel Mitzrachim coming down? That they themselves become greater. What's the greatness of Yud Gimel Mitzrachim? That is the realization that is coming down to reveal the essence of the Jew, which is the essence of Hashem, not Yud Gimel Mitzrachim. That's not the essence of Hashem. So therefore, Yud Gimel Mitzrachim are now connected to the essence of Hashem that they cause to be revealed within the Jew by coming down. What's your problem? If you think I know what I'm talking about, pleasant dreams. What?
So the Vedodi is from Ledodi. Any Vedodi is from Ledodi.
In other words, this Vedodi is coming from Ledodi. Yeah.
And then it goes higher.
Correct. Think about it. You don't lower something to go back to where you were. It just doesn't make sense. You lower something to become greater than before. So that's the purpose of the neshama coming into the body. That's the purpose of Melech Basoda. The Rabbi asked, this is a revelation from above. It's a revelation you give me the Serach, and how's it Ani Ledodi? So the Rabbi says, no. It's the essence of the Jew, which is, but sometimes when it's far away from Hashem, it's not dealing with godliness. It's hidden a little bit. So all it comes and gives the Jew the koyach to reveal it. But it's coming from the Jew.
It has to be Elul.
Yeah. Now, again, you can have Elul. You can have Elul every day. There's Elul. Every day you have Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. In Kedusha, everything is a big one cholent.
We read Hashem,
Right.
during the week.
Yeah.
And now we're reading it in Selachot also. What's the difference between when we read during the week and...
The Yud Gimel Midas Rachim of Elul is a higher level of Yud Gimel Midas Rachim. It's the higher level.
What does that mean?
It's a greater revelation of godliness. It's a greater revelation of godliness.
Both are infinite. How could be infinite be higher? Infinite is infinite.
First of all, according to Chassidus, there are different levels of infinite. Don't look at me, I didn't say it. Chassidus says it. In fact, somebody once asked the Rabbi a question that it comes out from Chassidus that even Lifnei Tzimtzum, There are different levels. How could there be levels in that level of infinite? And the Rabbi explained there are levels, different levels. I'll give you an example. You have the 10 spheres, Chesed, Gevurah, Tefesna, right? Now, Chesed is higher than Gevurah, which is higher than Tefesna. Now, in Atzilus, like we learned many times, what Atzilus is 10 levels, but each level is B'li Gvul. So Chesed is unlimited in Atzilus. Bina is unlimited, Dasid. Okay, now, but if Chesed is unlimited and Gevurah is unlimited, but yet Chesed is higher than Gevurah, that means the unlimited of Chesed is higher than the unlimited of Bina and Dasid, Chesed, Gevurah, whatever. Again, you think I know what I'm talking about? I haven't the faintest idea. I'm just saying words.
No, maybe we are not talking about unlimited. Maybe we are talking different level of counting.
Yeah, but he says Yud Gimel Midas Rachman is a level which is higher than world. World is limitation. Higher than world, like it says by Chabad years ago, not nowadays. In Alter Rebbe's time, there was an expression Chassidim used to say, "Gewalget nisim unter den Tisch." Und keiner sich nicht eingebringt zu Seilfäden. It says, in Alter Rebbe's times, miracles were rolling under the table, but nobody bothered to pick them up. Okay? Somebody once said about somebody that he's able, as a miracle guy, he's a tzaddik, was able to do miracles. So he said, I think Alter Rebbe or whatever, that in order to do a miracle, you have to be one tefach, one handbreadth higher than the world. If you're a little bit higher than the world, you could do miracles because you're not limited, you're unlimited, you're higher than the world. But he said, but Chabad is a lefcha chochma, lefcha bina, 2,000 amis of chochma and bina. It's not one tefach higher than the world. Therefore, by Chabad B'chlal, Rabbeim didn't do miracles. The miracle was needed for a particular reason. A miracle was done. But a miracle doesn't show the greatness of a person. A miracle, yes, it's a greatness of a person. You're higher than the world. You know, you're not a lowlife. You're a tzaddik that's higher than the world. But the ultimate is not doing miracles, which is to be a little bit higher than the world. You could do miracles. This is to be on a level infinitely greater than the world. Or like the Gemara says, Alpayim Shana Kadma Torah Li'elam. 2,000 years, the kids say it in the Bar Mitzvah Maamar. It happens to be a pretty hard Maamar, but the kids say it, it's good. Alpayim Shana Kadma Torah Li'elam. Torah was 2,000 years before the world. So in the Maamar, the Bar Mitzvah, kids ask, say in the Maamar, how can you have 2,000 years before the world when time was created when the world was? So before the world there was no time. So how can you say Torah is 2,000 years, Alpayim Shana, Kadma Torah Li'elam, Torah is 2,000 years higher than the world, when time in place is the creation of the world? So the answer is, it doesn't mean 2,000 years, it means 2,000 levels. Because the world was created with the 7 midos. Right, Sunday was Chesed, Monday was Gevurah, Shabbos is Malchus. So that's all the level of midas. But Torah is Chachma and Bina, Torah is intellect. Intellect is much greater than midas. So therefore, Torah is Alpayim Shana, 2,000 levels of 1,000 of Chachma, 1,000 of Bina, higher than the level of world. Because when you say before and after, in a level of timelessness, right? Then before and after can't mean earlier and later. It means higher and lower. Higher is before and lower is after. So you have to just change the language. Change the... Or Tzemach Tzedek uses the expression, when you learn Chassidus, you have to be able to lahafshit hadvarim migashmiyusam. You have to be able to remove the things and the physicality of it. You have to understand it on a deeper level. Anyway.
When you say no time, I'm sorry, maybe there is no time. Is there an order? How there be no time?
Okay, let me ask you a question.
That means things happen.
5,000, the world is now turning 5,785 years ago, yeah? This is Rosh Hashanah. Now, before that happened, what do you picture was there?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
What do you picture was there?
jungle?
Jungle is a creation. A jungle is a creation. We, as finite human beings, we can't understand what it means before the world, because before the world there was empty air, right? But air is also creation. So when you're talking about what was there before time, we as human beings, limited in time and place, cannot have, just like we cannot comprehend infinite. We can say the word, but we don't know what infinite means. By infinite, whoa, but that's also limited. A trillion is limited. So we can't have an understanding. But we know one thing, that before the world existed, there was nothing there. But not nothing in our world. You come into a room, it's empty, you say the room is empty, there's nothing here. What do you mean there's nothing here? There's air, there's molecules, there's germs, there's atoms, there's whatever, I don't know what you want to call it. We can't have an understanding of it. But we can understand, and so what's the purpose? We need to understand that we can't understand it. That's also an understanding. Because if we think we could understand it, then it's all wrong. Because it's impossible for a finite mind to understand something infinite. It just can't be. Neshama, because the neshama is a part of Hashem, it's, like he says, mushrush in atzmus, it's rooted in the essence of Hashem. So neshama gets it. Neshama gets it. But when you talk about we, so those tzaddikim, that their neshamas dictate the body, the neshamas say what's giving them chayda, because they don't have a nefesh abamis, they don't have a yitzhara, and they're existing physically from the nefesh shulakis, and their nefesh shulakis is revealed, the yichidah shebenefesh is revealed. So, yeah, they get it. They get it. But I don't know about you, but me, that my nefesh is not dominating my body. Okay, I'm living from a nefesh abamis. I don't get it. It'd be nice to get it. I don't think it's realistic. But my neshama, when it wakes up, gets it.
But even science, with all the telescope and this and that. And
one second. In Ayom Yom, the Rebbe, one second. In Ayom Yom, the Rebbe brings down, the Rebbe Hillel Paditcher asked him to the Rebbe, he said, when I go to speak this in the villages, they don't understand. So who am I talking to? It's an Ayom Yom. So the Rebbe said to him, you should talk because the neshama understands. The neshama is, the body maybe doesn't. The neshama understands it. And it awakens the neshama.
That's why the Jews are starting to blow the shofar. They have no relation with Judaism.
Every Jew has a connection to Yiddishkeit. What?
So if neshama understands it, it's true, but neshama understands it to a limited extent, because if neshama really 100% understood it the way we should, mentally understand it, that you just brought up a point, you said, you know what it was, what existed 6,000 years ago. So if neshama understands it, why is it that we still, when people try to figure out, or they're at a much higher level?
Because the neshama doesn't dominate the body. The neshama is not really functioning in the body in a revealed way.
So
it's in a subconscious. Use scientific terms. It's the subconscious.
So it's basically the neshama still has some limitations.
Even the tzaddik's neshama is limited. It has to eat. It has to sleep. That's why the Alter Rebbe writes in the Igersa Kodesh, the famous Igersa Kodesh, Simcha Zion, that the tzaddik, when he quotes the Zohar, we say that if you go to the oil and you say the Zohar part, that the ishtakach, a tzaddik, this part, the tzaddik who passes away, ishtakach v'chulu almen yatim b'chayoy, meaning a tzaddik is found in the world more than he was when he was alive. Because when a tzaddik was alive, he was limited by time and place. He was in a certain body. The body can't be in two places at the same time. But once the tzaddik is freed from the body, and his whole life was neshama life, not body life, so now the tzaddik in the neshama life is much greater than he was in the body. The body confined him, limited him. He had to eat, he had to sleep, it could be in one place. Now he's unlimited.
And when science with billions and billions of dollars is spent, they cannot figure out the very beginning of creation. They can come close to it, but that very, very beginning.
They get the Big Bang Theory.
No, they can come close to it, even, but they cannot understand.
We can't either.
Right.
Because a human can't understand a human who's limited in time, but he could be a million Einsteins, super brilliant, yeah? Or like the candidates last night, the super brilliant people. You could be a million of them, you still don't get it.
Big Bang is not a theory anymore, it's an actual thing.
Yeah, it's called simulation. Okay. Yes, the kasha is there. And we can understand, based on this, we can understand the pasuk. The pasuk says in Koheles that Melech l'sada nevad, the king is bound to the field. Shlomo says like, even a king is bound to the field. What does it mean he's bound to the field? Afilu melech she'en l'maylu mimenu, even the king that represents the highest possible level, nevad l'sada ki mimenu mechisei, because that's what he lives from. A king is bound to the field because he needs to eat. Field represents food, right? He needs to eat. So the king could be the greatest human being, which is higher than plant, which is higher than animal, and he's still bound. What based on what it says in the Zayah? Ma melech, what melech are we talking about in this pasuk? Melech l'sada nevad, that the king is an eved. To the Sodom, the melech ilah, this is the king of above, this Chabel Sada is connected to the field, meaning, what does that mean? Rabbi says that's a Katza Melech Basada. How does the king live? He's bound to the field, because he lives from the field. So where does the Melech, i.e. Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim, where do they become greater from? L'Sada Nevad, when it comes into the Melech Basada. Even this level of Malachi law, okay, by the king coming down into the field, that reveals that what's the purpose of the coming of the king into the field? Why didn't the king just stay in the palace? What does the king gain? The king is a king, okay? Conceptually, the king is perfect. Why does he need to come down into the field? Let him stay in the palace. Who cares? Why does he care about the people? He's a king. The answer is to Shakavanu. Bishvil Yisrael. Shashashim Ma'asim is because of the Yidden. That's rooted in the essence of Hashem. So therefore, the Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim become elevated, meaning a greater revelation of Elokus, by coming into the Soda. Based on what the Zohar says, is Soda v'is Soda. There's Soda, there's, and Zelum is right? You have Kedusha and you have evil. So if there's Soda in Kedusha, there's Soda in evil. If there's Soda in evil, there's Soda in Kedusha. Is Soda v'is Soda, Soda the Kedusha, v'is Soda the Lumazah. There's Soda, like we know. You have the Melech Basada, that represents the king coming down into Kedusha, right? Like the Rebbe said before, the king can't come into Midbar. Kedusha can't be revealed in a Midbar. So Soda is a place of Kedusha. Yet, Esav is Soda. Or as it says in this week's Parsha, when the Pasuk speaks over there about, God forbid, rape and all that, yeah? The guy finds a woman in a field, yeah? And he raped her. So it says, Ki besadem, the pasuk in this week's parsha, Ki besadem mitzvah, he found her in the field, Tzaka anayra, ve'mashiala. The girl is screaming, in other words, in the city you could assume it was willingly, because if she wasn't there, she should have screamed and people are around. But in the field you assume That's what the halacha is. The pasuk says you assume it's rape because she screamed and nobody heard it. There's nobody around, right? So what does it mean in Chassidus? Naira represents the Jew, the girl, the Naira, the girl. She's found in the Sada, Esav, Ish Sada, in the world of Esav, in the world of Klippa, that's God spiritually raping her, raping the Jew. Tzaka Naira, the girl is screaming out, the neshama is screaming, help! And in the world of Esav, nobody helps her. So you have a level of Sada of Kedusha, and you have Sada of evil. Yitzchak, that's Lasur Basada. He went to daven in the field. That's where he met Rivka, where he set up the whole Klal Yisrael. That's the Sada of Kedusha. But at the same time, that's like it's Zalum Azar Salakim, the pasuk says, right? Whatever exists in Kedusha exists in evil Kedusha. So he says like this. Yeshleimad, the Inyan Melech al-Sada Nevad. This, that the pasuk says the king is enslaved, so to speak, to the field because he needs to eat. Shayidei Yeridavam Shachal al-Sada. By the king coming down into the Sada, Nasa Ilui b'Melech Ilah. Becomes, and the king becomes greater, like you said before, who be'iked is primarily, now it's self-understood. It's like, the lower the field, the lower the descent, the higher the elevation. So where is the ultimate greatness of Melech Basada? Not in a Sada of Kedusha, but especially when the king comes down into a Sada of Klippa, i.e. Midbar, so to speak, that's where the ultimate revelation of Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim is. What? Yeah, the greater the Gilul.
The light, it shows up there.
Correct.
When he's revealed in the lowest level of Sada, he's not going to lose his kingship?
Nope. Because he's a king. He's the boss.
I realize I don't know anything.